Today, I will talk about the business in the age of AI, about the trends, the management, and the safety. My name is Anna Stojković Knežević. It's a little bit longer surname. It's kind of local thing. When you get married, you can replace or take another surname. So I did that. So that's why I have a huge surname. And I work as a project manager. I'm a little bit in a transition of chief AI, something like that at the moment, but still a project manager. And I had the opportunity, and I was a lucky one to lead and work with AI projects for the last 14 years now. And the other cutting edge technology like virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on. So basically, I also had the opportunity and luck to speak in 3 different continents over the past year about these topics, and they might be boring, about the governance, regulations, but they are all business related, and it's a necessary topic related to the AI. I work for the Auxality. Auxality is a fintech, let's call it also a regtech company. Basically, we are working to use the artificial intelligence and automation so that we can automate boring workflows that they have in asset finance, asset management, and banks. So it's a kind of a good business deal. So I specifically chose my first slide to talk about the paradox of AI. There are a few things or a few angles where we speak and we talk about the paradox. The first one is how AI is growing very, very fast and exponentially fast. And everything else that needs to follow, like regulations and governments and ethics, they're going linearly. They don't follow the same speed as the AI. That's one paradox. And why we need all those regulations and everything, those boring things to follow, because there is a huge risk for bias, compliance gaps, safety issues. You all know how AI can hallucinate, and that can lead to a lot of things in terms of business that are not good. For instance, I can make an example of bad reputation thing, for example, like for banks. When you have an AI for chat communication with clients, you need to regulate it, because if you have some answer that is not good for the bank as a company, as a business, then you have a very bad PR and so on. And there might be even worse if it gives some wrong data or something like that. So the core question is, are we managing AI or is AI managing us? But when we talk about the AI, I would also like to emphasize how AI is growing very, very fast. If you think about that, we have had a few revolutions, technical revolutions behind us in the recent years. I can see that this is a younger crowd, and you probably don't know about the revolution of smartphones when they came out, or cell phones for that matter, or the internet if we go further back. But the fun thing is that the telephone, it took it 75 years to reach 100 million users. The electricity took 47 years. Instagram, it's very popular, but it took it 2.5 years to reach 100 million users. And ChatGPT did it in just 2 months. So it's very, very fast. When we talk about the trends in business and governments and regulations, my favorite topic is to talk about the global trends. I will divide this per each continent, and I will start with North America. You are probably aware that in North America there are a lot of AI going on. There are a lot of startups, a lot of companies. Actually, the fact is that the US has 12 times more AI startups than Europe. And everyone will think at the first glance that that's because the US doesn't have the AIU Act or that strict regulation, but no, it's because they have a lot more funding opportunities. But still, in the US, there is no one common or united law like in the Europe for the AI. They have separated laws per countries. So in the state of New York, for instance, you can use AI for the human resources to select candidates, but you cannot use the AI to select the candidate that you will hire. So the hiring decision must be human decision. That's one of the interesting laws that I find interesting to talk about. And Canada recently, they had a few issues with the lawsuits because of the ethics, because one company used data to create some machine learning project, and they used data they could find on the internet. So basically, those data, the government data, the government never said they can that other companies might use it or might not use it. So basically, when the lawsuit came out, they won against the government because there was no definition. Can you use it or can't you use it? So now they're changing the law for the privacy data and for the ethics and everything, but it's still in progress. But one good thing is that Quebec, for instance, has the AI ethics mandatory as a class in high schools. So that's one good thing. When we talk about Europe, you all heard about the EU AI Act. You all know about how that is risk-driven. It has 4 categories from to the forbidden, from not that very strict. But the thing with that is that in the Europe, when you think about AI projects, first you need to think about the regulations. And also about that act is very interesting that they have started writing it like a year and a half before the ChatGPT came out like we know it today. So as you can all think, and I also think that there will be a lot of changes, a lot of annexes to that act in the future, near future. But there are also a lot of unfinished things. For instance, if I ask a question, you can do all those risk-driven documentation. And imagine that you live in European Union and you have to submit that documentation, but you would not know where to submit. Because it's per country, it's a law per country, and it's not defined for every country. So you might finalize all the documentation and figure out how to do it, but then you don't know where to submit it. But that doesn't mean you should not do it. The fines are huge, and also one interesting fact for the Finland is that they have a free elements of the AI course that trained 1% of their population. So that's a very promising thing if you think about it, 1% of one country's population. And also Sweden, since my company is from Sweden, they have an AI startup that basically use the AI to evaluate startups. So it does a better job than the VCs to predict which startup will be more successful. When we go to the Africa and Latin America, then we are going into more practical world of the AI usage. So they are using, in Africa, they are using artificial intelligence for agriculture and fintech. In Kenya, for instance, they use to detect illegal fishing in Lake Victoria. Latin America, they have their own problems of course. So, for example, deforestation in Brazil, so they use AI to fight against it. The Chile is drafting first human dignity-based AI law, so they are focused on the dignity and as part of the ethics. And Australia, as always, has its own policies, but in my opinion, it's not very different from Africa and Latin America, because it's, again, it's very practical usage. So they have issues with fires, so they use AI. For instance, they have a huge project where they use AI how to predict where the fire will go next so that they can fight it better. So So, and also they're using the AI ethics framework based on eight principles. Human, social, environmental well-being. It needs to be human-centered, to have human-centered values, to be fair, to have privacy and security, reliability and safety, transparency and explainability, accountability and contestability. And before I move to the next slide, I would like to draw a conclusion for each continent. So for North America, you have the freedom to create anything with AI, and then you think about the regulations, and it's mostly customer-oriented, user-oriented regulations. But it means like you are driving the bus and you haven't even checked if you have brakes before you start driving a bus. For Europe, it's first you need to think about regulation before you even think about some kind of an AI product or company or business. Other continents are more for practical use. When we think about leadership and management challenges with the AI, we have proven a lot of AI startups that failed because of unclarity in the leaderships in terms of not being sure how to explain what you're working on or how you want to achieve it. So there are a lot of unclarities in terms of management. So the leadership and management are in the AI business needs to improve, and it's a bit different than other businesses. As I was talking a lot about project management for AI and ML projects, project managers and product managers need to be educated and to have at least a basic knowledge about the technology that they are leading the projects. You can't be just the project manager that you are for the software development, for example. You have to have the knowledge and the experience and basically at least the basic knowledge about about the projects and that. One also huge issue is with the AI safety is hallucinations, bias, and vulnerabilities. But I believe that as data scientists, you are all very, very much aware of that. So hence all the regulations that we need. Transparency, I don't think I should talk much about that. You're all very much aware. So I would like to go back to the first slide and to talk a little bit more about the paradox of the AI. We are talking about regulating something that is a black box. You know more and even better than me how AI is a neural network, how it's a basically black box. We don't know how it makes a decision and how something comes as a result from that black box. What we can do there is to have the control over the data that we're feeding the neural network and the rules how they are going to make decisions. That's the only thing that we can do. So that's, in my opinion, that's the huge and most significant paradox of the AI. So that's why we have the governance and safety frameworks, and that's why we need to have that as innovation enabler, not a blocker. So I think that it is very, very important. For example, I don't know if you will recognize yourself as a business that will outsource something to some other AI company, or you are the AI company that someone outsourced. But for example, you will have to go through DDQ, a very strict one. For instance, for the data, one of my favorites is that I will always use is which data is used for training, which one for testing, and which one for the production. So I would also, if I ever, and whenever I outsource something, I need to have those answers. And even when I was the outsourced company, I would provide those answers. In the next 3 to 5 years, in the most conferences, I was hearing a lot about how AI will replace jobs or people or something like that. So basically, that's not, and now I will talk about will replace businesses as well. So in my professional opinion, it will not replace none of those three things that I've mentioned, but it will replace parts of it. So in terms of business and management, it will replace some boring manual things that manager needs to do, and with the AI they don't have to do it. So if you all agree with me, managers can go back to be strategic and more innovative, and not to be bored with the spreadsheets or Jira tasks and boards and everything. You don't have to. In terms of jobs, again, it will replace some manual repetitive workflows and things like that, but it will open new job descriptions and opportunities. To start with prompt engineering, but much more. And also for the businesses, it's the same principle, in my opinion. AI is no longer optional, it's existential. Leadership means balancing trends, managing risks, embedding safety. And with the AI, we need to lead responsibly when we lead projects. So that would be from me. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.